All across Twitter, news breaking. Smugglers are sawing through new sections of Trump's border wall, and they're doing it for $100, buying a tool from Home Depot. Oh no, Trump said you couldn't cut through it. Oh heavens, it's the worst thing in the world. People are so dumb. I'm so sick of everything. Everything is a gotcha. Everything is exaggerated. Everything is hyperbolic. Man, let's talk about the wall. Let me just cut to the chase, and we'll read the story. The wall works. We're done. Have a nice day. I'm out. No, I'm kidding. But seriously, just because sometimes some people can saw through it, well, yeah. And what if there was no wall? They would just walk past. And even though it's 30 feet tall, they'll buy a ladder. We get that. But the wall is still a deterrent. I'm not arguing for the morality of the wall. I'm just saying, if you got a bunch of people walking through the desert trying to cross the border and there's a wall, they're going to stop and they're going to turn around. And they're going to try and figure out a different way in. Smugglers, on the other hand, yeah, of course they're going to try and break through and they're going to get through. There's not a wall that you could build that they wouldn't be able to figure out a way through, under, over, or whatever. So it's dumb. The point of the wall isn't supposed to be perfect security because perfect security does not exist. You're going to build the wall, you're going to walk away. There's 2 layers to the wall, so it's complicated. But yeah, they'll find a way through. I get it. And they'll have to go and fix it, and it'll be a game of cat and mouse. But what's the alternative? No wall? You want to argue morality? Sure. You want to argue cost? Fine, whatever. But arguing that, oh no, Trump was wrong, the wall's being cut through, it's so dumb. It's just so dumb. It's not an argument. We knew it was going to happen. It happened before, it'll happen again, and it means literally nothing about whether or not the wall should or shouldn't exist. Let's read the story from the Washington Post. This should be interesting. Smuggling gangs in Mexico have repeatedly sawed through new sections of President Trump's border wall in recent months by using commercially available power tools, opening gaps large enough for people and drug loads to pass through, according to U.S. agents and officials with knowledge of the damage. The breaches have been made using a popular cordless household tool known as a reciprocating saw that retails at hardware stores for as little as $100. When fitted with specialized blades, the saws can slice through one of the barrier's steel and concrete bollards in a matter of minutes, according to the agents, who spoke on the condition of anonymity because they were not authorized to speak publicly about the barrier-defeating techniques. Barrier-defeating techniques. Oh, heavens. Yeah, there's a lot of barrier-defeating techniques. The point is to increase the cost of smuggling, make it more difficult. Just because some people are pushing through doesn't mean the numbers haven't gone down. After cutting through the base of a single bollard, smugglers can push the steel out of the way, allowing an adult to fit through the gap. Because the bollards are so tall and are attached only to a panel at the very top, their length makes them easier to push aside once they have been cut and are left dangling, according to engineers consulted by the Washington Post. So what? You see how they're trying to frame this in a negative? Well, it's so tall, it made it easier for them. They'd find a way, dude. We know that. That's not the argument. You can tell I'm getting tired of how everything is stretched to the most extreme degree, to the most unreasonable metric possible to make the orange man bad. Look, talk about cost. Well, you can argue the cost, fine. Talk about morality. That's a stupid argument in my opinion. But you want to argue that some people have figured a way to cut through the barrier, so what? It has nothing to do with anything. The other thing they did was they were like, Trump's not even building new wall. And even some conservatives are saying this. He's just replacing old wall. Yeah, did you look at the old walls? They were like it was like corrugated steel falling apart. And he put triple layered barriers in front of these areas because those are the hot spots they need to protect. It's like nobody thinks, you know? They say, oh, here we go. The taxpayer funded barrier. Look at how they're framing this. It's clearly a slam against Trump. The taxpayer-funded barrier, so far coming with a $10 billion price tag, was a central theme of Trump's 2016 campaign, and he has made the project a physical symbol of his presidency, touting its construction progress in speeches, ads, and tweets. Trump has increasingly boasted to crowds in recent weeks about the superlative properties of the barrier, calling it virtually impenetrable. Right, Trump's exaggerating. He's being hyperbolic. I think we can point out that Trump is hyperbolic like every politician. But you see what the Washington Post is doing here? So some people somewhere have been able to breach the barrier using commercially available tools. Okay, what's the percentage of crossings that have decreased due to the wall? Has the wall worked? Are we going to be real, or are we going to talk about the exceptions, not the rules? There's no such thing as perfect security, no matter what you do anywhere. A bulletproof vest only covers your chest, your arms, and your lower abdomen. You can still get injured. You can still die. So then what? Are we going to say, the taxpayer-funded bulletproof vests worn by police come with a $100 million price tag in the city, It was a central theme. What are you talking about? We know they're not perfect, but you get them anyway. The way whenever I do those promos for Virtual Shield, they're getting a free shout out on this one. I always say, my thing is like, listen, man, we know that if someone wants to break into your house, they're going to do it. But we still lock our doors and windows anyway. We don't think someone's going to break in, but we latch the lock. We turn it. If somebody really wants to get in, they're going to do it. Could you imagine if they were like, Donald Trump put locks on the hotel room doors that cost all of this money, and somebody figured out how to break in? It's like, yeah, but you still have locks on your doors. Could you imagine if your dad was like, or imagine you got your mom and your dad, and your mom's like, I think we should put locks on the front doors. And the dad goes, why? Someone will just break in anyway. It's like, wait, but don't you want to make it harder for the person to break in? And then like a month later, someone kicks the door and the mom goes, see, it was a waste of money. We shouldn't have locked the doors. It's like, that's nuts, dude. You lock the doors, even though you know someone can kick it in. They're doing this because they're going after Trump's campaign promise. They're trying to sow doubt. But I tell you what, the only thing that's going to happen is, and why this stuff frustrates me to no end, is that the anti-Trump people are going to go and wave their arms in the air and be like, this proves it. Oh, Trump supporters are so dumb. And Trump supporters are going to be like, this is so dumb. It's fake news, blah, blah, blah. Dude, let's be real. The wall's not perfect. Trump likes to talk about his big, beautiful 30-foot concrete wall from sea to shining sea, and he ended up with a border wall system with bollard fencing. He said Mexico was going to pay for it. They didn't. Trump didn't get everything he wanted, but he's putting up some kind of barrier, and Democrats in the past wanted it too. So I think you'll find some diehard Trump supporters saying fake news, and I think you'll find many regular people, including Trump supporters, being like, yup, sometimes people break in, but you still get set up security, right? The smuggling crews have been using other techniques, such as building makeshift ladders to scale and overtop the barriers, especially in the popular smuggling areas in and around San Diego, according to nearly a dozen U.S. agents and current and former administration officials. Mexican criminal organizations, which generate billions of dollars in smuggling profits, have enormous incentive to adapt their operation at the border to new obstacles and enforcement methods, officials say. But not all of them. Many illegal immigrants, many smugglers who drive will stop and say, we can't drive. You know why? It's not just one wall. It's two. There's a fence, then there's a patrol area, and then a fence. So yes, some people will get through, and it will still stop most. I can't remember which country it was. I did a video about this years ago. In Europe, I think it might have been like Croatia, maybe, something, I'm not sure where. But they built a huge fence, and the amount of illegal border crossings dropped by like 95%. And guess what? People, and it was a 3 meter high, it was a 9 foot tall chain link fence. That's it. You could take some bolt cutters and snip, snip, snip and walk right through. And guess what? People weren't doing it. Why? They were coming in with families who couldn't climb the fence. You could just climb right over. It's not that high. But it worked. That cut down illegal immigration because people started saying, my family, my kids, we can't go that way. It's not worth it. There's a barrier. We'll go a different way. And they cut it down. So, I'd be more interested in the numbers after the walls go up. We'll see what the numbers are for apprehensions and illegal border crossings, and then we can argue effectiveness. They say, the U.S. government has not disclosed the cutting incidents and breaches, and it is unclear how many times they have occurred. U.S. Customs and Border Protection declined to provide information about the number of breaches, the location of the incidents, and the processes for repairing them. Matt Lees, a spokesman for the agency, declined to comment, and CBP has not yet fulfilled a Freedom of Information request seeking data about the breaches and repairs. The U.S. Army Corps of Engineers, which oversees the private contractors building the barrier, referred inquiries to CBP. One senior administration official, who was not authorized to discuss the breaches but spoke on the condition of anonymity, said they amounted to a few instances and that the new barrier fencing had significantly increased security and deterrence along sections of the border in CBP's San Diego. It's just a reason to hate Trump. That's all it is. Is there any substance to the story? I think it's interesting that we're learning that they're doing it, but I think it was obvious to everybody, even most Trump supporters, it was going to happen. But what I'm seeing now, and the reason I pulled this up, is because Twitter has become just like this. It's so dumb. The shock content, the rage, the Trump's failed border wall, that people are spending only $100 and they're walking right through. And it's like, come on, man. I'm just so tired of it, It's absurd to me that we spent so many decades in this country talking about a border barrier with Mexico. And then all of a sudden, Trump comes in and goes, I'm going to do it, and I'm going to make it a big, beautiful wall. And then all of a sudden, Democrats are like, harumph, I say, no, don't do it. And now I'm confused. I'm like, wait, hold on, wait, why don't you want the wall? Because you guys wanted the wall before. And then Beto actually said, tear down this wall. And I'm just like, okay, you're not speaking English. You want to talk about the wall's effectiveness? Show me the data. You want to talk about being worth the cost? Show me the data. But so far, there's never been a real argument for it. It's always just been these stretches and hyperbolic nonsense. And it's like, you know what, man? We've gone nowhere with it. You just don't like Trump, okay? You know, I can understand why you don't like him, but you're not convincing me of anything. And I'm sure there's a lot of Americans who are not convinced at all either. They're going to be like, yeah, and, okay. I got one more segment coming up for you in a couple minutes. Stick around. I'll see you shortly.